Hello learners, welcome to the Python session tour 3. In this session, we will revise how to create and execute basic Python programs using input and output statements to read and display data. Also in this class, we will learn about basic type conversions functions which Python offers for explicit conversion of data objects from one form to another. And we will learn about some conversions which Python does implicitly of its own. Finally, at the end of this class, we'll see what are the comment statements in Python and how they are created. So let us proceed. Every Python program needs some data to be processed. These data are being accepted by the program using input function. It is worthy to note here that input function always accept data as a string data object. That is, even if the user is entering a number value to input function, the input function prompt, it is accepted only as a string by the function. A Python program generates results after processing the data, and the print function is responsible to print these generated results back to the user console or screen. So to create a basic Python program, one need to use two basic inbuilt functions offered by Python, namely input and print. Built-in functions are ready-made code which are already available in Python language library to offer generalized functionalities. You might have gone through few of these basic building built-in functions in your earlier classes in class 11. Let us see how these two functions, that is print and input, can be used in varieties of way with the help of a code example ahead. The example here shows the use of print and input functions which are used in Python to input and print the output. Let us see one code example. We are going to declare variables and initialize them with values. And let's write the print statement, name, comma, age, fee is male. So here you can see that the print statement takes list of arguments. Now what is an argument? Any function after this parenthesis, starting parenthesis, may take number for arguments, which is called input values for that function, and act upon it to produce an output. Here in this case, the print function is taking number of inputs separated by comma. The arguments are separated with comma, and we are going to print those arguments which are passed. So let us see what the statement prints. It gives you the values Kamal 40, 777.89 and true. These values were initialized into these variables earlier. Now let us print them one by one and see what happens. So print name, as you can see, it is printed like this. Now if I'm printing the name like this, print age is printed, the age 40. So individually also you can print the variable values. Now here one point is to be made here, that in this output you can see that the names are not separated with comma, they are separated with a space, blank space. This is because of the fact that the print statement prints all the inputted parameter separated with a blank space. Now what if you want to print them with a separator symbol, say for example comma, then there is another argument separator which you can pass, and you can print the arguments with that particular separator, separated by that particular separator. So we'll see that print name comma age comma fee comma is male comma, and then you can pass a separator symbols sep is equal to, in the quotes you pass comma. Now you can see that the values here in this case are being separated with a comma symbol. So you can put any symbol over here, not just comma. You can put a hyphen, or you can put a underscore, whatever symbol you want you can put here. So this is another way of outputting the thing. Now let us move on to the next thing, that is say for example we have another syntax of print. We can write something like this. We can print the variable names with a prompt, with a string prompt. Say for example, I'm writing my name. My name is, and then after prompting this I'm going to print my name as NAME, name. So what I did here is I am prompting this particular string, my name is, it will be printed as it is, and then I am joining this whole string, the prompt string, with a variable string name. So whatever this variable will carry will be concatenated with this string and it will be printed. So let us see what it gives. It gives my name is Kamal. So whatever was there in the inside the variable, whatever was associated with the variable is going to be concatenated with this prompt string and it is printed. Now let us see what happens if I am prompting and uh, concatenating my age variable. Say for example print my name is, sorry, my age is, and then I'm putting here plus and age. Let's see what happens here. Now you can see here that this is producing an error and it is not going to print your age with the prompt my age is. This is why this happens. Let us see. Let us check out the error over here. So this is a type error and it is showing a message can only concatenate str, not int to str. So let us find out what is the reason here. This my age is a string. This is a of type string because we have enclosed it within double quotes. Now this plus operator or the concatenation operator, whenever there is one operand which is a string here, in this case it is a string. So if with the plus operator we are keeping a string operand, then the other operand which is on the right hand side of the plus operator must also be a string operand. If it is a integer operand or integer data value, then this error will come because that becomes a type error for this particular operator. So plus operator as a concatenation operator, not as addition but a concatenation operator, will not act upon between a string variable, a string value, and a data integer value. So you have to keep in mind that if you are going to concatenate an int value to a string value, you must be converting this int value into string first. This int value age should be converted to string first, and then only it can be concatenated with this particular string. So this has to be keep in mind, and we will see how to convert this variable into string value. We'll see that in the coming up sessions, in the coming up slides we will see that. So let us not bother about it now. Let us come forward and write another statement. Say for example I'm writing here print. So this is another way of printing the things. Print my name is, and then you're writing %s, and here you are closing it out and putting a, without putting a comma, you are giving a percent, and you are creating a tuple. You are creating a tuple with a parenthesis, opening and closing parenthesis, and within this you pass all the parameters that you want to print at that particular position. So here I'm writing name. So what happens here is this name, this variable name is being placed at the placeholder %s. So this %s becomes a placeholder where this name will be put. Now why we have used %s? This s stands for string. So the variable over here is a name, and hence it will be placed here in the placeholder string. Let us see what happens if I'm going to print. So now you can see that my name is Kamal. It is showing my name is Kamal. Now let us print the age like this. So print my name, my age is, and then I'm putting here %s and then %age. Let us see what happens if I'm going to do this. Now you can see my age is 40. No error is produced here. Why this is happening? Because we have not used a concatenation operator like we have used in this statement, right? So here the plus operator was acting as a concatenation operator, but here we have not mentioned any concatenation operator, and we have mentioned here explicitly that whatever will be holded by this placeholder will be of the format of string. So implicitly it is converted to string. So age, which is of integer type, gets converted into string implicitly, and it is being placed into this placeholder %s. Now if you want that it has to be printed as an integer but not string, then you can apply another placeholder like this. My age is, and then you can write here %i stands for integer. So you can write here %s, and then you can place a age over here. So now in this case, this %i stands for integer, so this age will be taken as an integer value and will be placed here. So no type conversion, no implicit type conversion takes place in this case, but here it was there. Now let us print all of them together. So my name is, and then I will place here %s, and I am % I years old and paid a fee of rupees and paid fee of rupees, and then %f stands for float, and then I am placing here the tuple carrying all those variables, name, comma, age, comma, fee. Now you see what happens if I'm doing like this. Now you can see here what is happening. My name is Kamal and I am 40 years old. So here in the place of %s, Kamal is being replaced, and then in the place of %i, 40 is being substituted, and in the place of %f, 777.89 has been substituted. So this is how we print multiple values using print statement and using placeholders, right? So this is another way of doing the same thing, placeholders. Now let us see how we can use concatenation operator to perform this thing. So using concatenation operator plus operator also we can do the same thing, like print my name is %s, or my name is, and then plus name, plus again concatenate with a prompt, and I am, and then again concatenate the value 40, so that is age, then again you write years old, place a space here, otherwise between the age and years there will be no space, years old and paid a fee of rupees, and then you place here plus fee. So let us see how it goes on. Now you can see here EUL while scanning literal error is coming. Now this is because some mischievous character might be there. So let us not okay, we have not closed double quotes over here, hence the error is coming, right? So you have to remember that you have to complete this double quotes. You have to enclose the string within double quotes, otherwise this variable is also been taken as a part of that string and the error is produced. So let us copy and paste the line again and correct the error, and let us put here double quotes. Okay, now we see what happens. Again the same error is given, that is type error. Now why this type error? As I have mentioned earlier, that this is because of the fact that strings cannot be concatenated with integers or floats. So let us correct this error also. Let us see how to correct this error. Later on in the class you will learn about more about those functions. For the time being, just for the sake of learning the thing, I am just going to correct it. So here I will place what? Int, int, and within this int I will keep this, sorry, not int, str, and within this str I will keep what? Age. And here this fee will be also kept within str, so that the fee is also taken as a string. So str age and str fee converts that particular age and fee into string values. Now let us see what happens. Now it is okay. My name is Kamal and I am 40 years old and I paid a fee of rupees 777.89. So this is another way of doing the same thing. So either you can use the placeholders to print the thing, or you can use concatenation operator to print the things. Whatever is easier for you, you can apply that particular syntax. Now let us move on to the next thing, that is uh, uh, printing the values using print statement prints them in separate line. What I mean to say is that suppose I want to keep two values within same line separated with a particular thing. Say for this I have to go in the program mode from the this mode. So we have to move to the program mode. This is interactive mode of the compiler. So we have to move to the program mode. Let us go to the program mode and see what happens. Suppose I'm writing here print and I'm printing something, say for example Kamal, and then if I'm writing print and I'm writing Shyam. Okay, now if I'm running this program, if I'm executing this program, what happens? This is executed, this is executed as two separate lines, Kamal and Shyam, right? So these are the two different lines or separate line, Kamal and Shyam. So these are two important thing that has to be understood here, that the print command prints the things into two separate lines, not in the single line. So what if I want to print Kamal and Shyam in the same line, not on separate lines? So what you have to do is you have to go to the same command, same program, and see the things like this. Go to the new file, write print, and here after printing Kamal, what you can do, you can simply you can simply write here, um, uh, there is a parameter called end parameter, and here in this case of end parameter you can just put a end, and in the double quotes you write that ending or separating uh, character. Say for example here I am writing a comma. So what happens here is that the next line which you print will be printed in the same line with Kamal and will be separated with a comma. So let us write here Ram and see what happens, and let us print this particular thing, run, execute it. Okay, now you see what happens. Kamal and Ram now is being printed in the same line instead of different lines, right? Here in this case, in the previous case, Kamal and Shyam was printed on separate lines. But here in this case, Kamal and Ram is printed in the same line separated with a comma symbol. So the syntax is, you can use what, end parameter. So end parameter can be used to produce the effect. So let us come back to our interactive mode where we, so this is one other thing that you have to keep in mind while using print, that you can use end parameter to put a different type of character between two consecutive print statements, right? So this is all about print statement. Now let us come to the input statement. Let us see the syntax of input statement. Input statement, as we have discussed earlier, that it is used to input some data into our program. Now let us see how the input statement is being used. Name, let us declare variables like name, age, comma, fee, and initialize them with initial values like blank string 0 and 0 0.0, say for example, right? Now here, to input values into these variables name, age and fee, one can input them separately, or they can be inputted at the same line, same time, right? So let us input them separately. Name is equal to, the syntax of input statement is input and then a prompt should be given. So the prompt here will be enter your name, right? And when the compiler gets this prompt, the input waits for user to input certain character on the, with the help of the keyboard, and when the enter is pressed in the, on the keyboard, that particular array of characters or string gets inputted through the input port of the keyboard to the program. It is fed to the program, and from program it is going to the variable name. So let us find out what happens when we execute this particular statement. So the prompt is being shown here, enter your name, and here you will type Kamal Kant Gupta, and here you are, what you are going to give. This is inputted as a string, and this is input string is being used, right? So Kamal Kant Gupta is being inputted. Now let us print this name. Let us see what will happen if I am printing this name. The name variable is giving Kamal Kant Gupta as we have inputted that particular value, right? Similarly, you can input age as input, and you enter your age, right? Enter your age, and I can enter my age as 40. And now if I'm printing my age, it is showing me 40, and that too enclosed within single quotes. Why it is showing 40 within single quotes? Can you explain that? Think for a while and we will discuss it later on. Let us, for the time being, input the third variable fee. So again the same command, same syntax, input, enter the fee amount. So this prompt has to be given, and you enter it, and you enter your fee amount 777 rupees 89 paise, and then it is giving you the fee. Let us print the fee value, and it is showing 77977.89 within single quotes. Now we have discussed earlier in our previous sessions that whatever is enclosed within single quotes or double quotes is treated as to be a string value. Now let us confirm this by getting the type of that name, age and fee. So for getting the type of a particular data object in Python, we use a function called type that we have seen earlier in our previous session, right? So type of age, let us see what happens. It gives you class str. That str stands for string. So the type of the age variable is a string here. Type of fee, the type of fee is also treated as string, though it is showing 777.89, but the whole thing is taken as a string only. So this confirms that the input statement in Python always inputs the value as string. By default, it uses string data type to input any value. Whatever value you are inputting using the input port or keyboard, it is being inputted as a string only, right? Later on, you can convert this string into integer or float or whatever data type you want. Explicitly you can convert it, right? We'll see this, how to do this explicit conversion in our next few coming slides next we will see that. For the time being, let us not bother about it, and let us concentrate upon what this input statement is going to do. Now, as you can see here, that these values age, fee, and the name is inputted separately. What if I want to input them with same single input command? So within single input command, we can also input all of them together. Let us do it using a particular syntax. So I'm writing here name comma age comma fee is equal to, within the same single statement we are going to input all three of them. So, and then I'm writing input enter your name, age, and fee amount separated with comma. So I will ask user to input these values, but also instruct him to separate these values with a comma. Why I'm doing this will be understood very soon. Dot split. After this I'm using a function called split, and then here I'm using a split parameter as comma. So now what happens when I am going to execute this command, this will ask you this will prompt enter your name, age, and fee amount separated with comma. So here I have to input my name, age, and the fee amount separated with comma, right? You should separate these values with comma because as it has been prompted. Now let us see what happens. It has taken the input. Now let us see whether the input has gone into the variable or not. So let us print it, name, age, and fee. Let us see what happens. It is showing as a tuple as Kamal 40 and 777.98, all of them as a string only. So here what two things we have observed, we can take as many as variable values, we can input as many as variable values with a single input statement using split function. And the second point is that the split function is a very important function, which is a library function which you might have learned in class 11, which is used to split a inputted string using a separator symbol. Here in this case the separator symbol was comma. So you can use any separator symbol, be a hyphen, be a underscore, it can be a star, whatever separator symbol you can use. But this particular function splits the inputted string based on that particular separator symbol. It splits into one or many parts, and all those parts are individual string that goes into consecutively into name, age, and fee. Now let us see how it goes. We have inputted Kamal, comma 40, comma 777. So the first string, the first substring, the separator here was comma. So the first substring Kamal goes into name. The second substring 40, the 40 goes into age, and the last substring, which is 777, goes into fee. So I hope you have understood this fairly, that this is the way you are going to use print statement and input statement, and I hope you will use this in your Python program in future. So after getting the idea of input functions and the print function, let us proceed to the next important topic of this class, that is type conversion. In our earlier discussion in this class, we have seen that we cannot concatenate a string value with an integer value using concatenation plus operator, as it results in type error. This error was removed using explicit type of conversion using Str function, which you have seen in the previous video. Type conversion is the conversion of object from one data type to another data type, which is done in Python in two ways. Python supports few more type conversion functions which explicitly converts data values from one type to another as and when needed by the programmer. These explicit type conversion functions are enumerated on your screen as int, float, str, complex, bool, chr, ord. Let us discuss each one of them one by one. The int function. The int function converts any float or string having digits or boolean as its argument into integer value. The float function the float function converts any int or string having digits or boolean as its argument into floating point decimal value. The str function converts any int or float or boolean or complex number as its arguments into string value. The bool function converts any int or float or string or a complex number as its argument into boolean true or false value. The chr function converts an integer argument value to its ASCII character. The ORD function or the ordinal function converts an ASCII character argument value to its corresponding integer ASCII code. It is important to note that explicit type conversion, or better known as typecasting, may involve data loss as we are forcefully converting one type of data into another. Let us understand these explicit conversions, or better called as typecasting, using an extensive code example. Let us see the use of int function, which converts any value to a integer type. It is one of the type conversion functions used in Python. Let us find out how it works. So int of 78.7, it gives you 78. So we can convert any float value to its integer value. The integer part of that float will be given. Suppose we are writing int of a, which is a is a character value, and we are going to convert it into int. Now you can see that value error is coming. There is an error known as value error, and why it is so? Invalid literal for int. The int function does not accept any character, so you cannot put any character inside or string inside int. So if it does not carries any digit, if that string does not carries any digit, then this type of value error will come. Say for example, if I am writing int and then I am writing 45, which is carrying some digit, then the output will be 45. Okay, but instead of that, if I am writing 4 and 5, then it will be treated as a string because we have alphanumeric things inside it. So the error, again the value error will come. So this should be kept in mind while using int function. Now let us write int of a boolean value. Let us find true. Let us find int of true. Int of true will be 1. So it is giving a value 1. So true is treated as integer as 1. So int of false, let us find out what is int of false. It is treated to be 0. So int of true is always 1, int of false value is always 0. So a true, which is a boolean type, is treated in when converted to integer is taken as 1, and the false is taken as 0. So let us now see how to convert complex number into integer type. Can we convert a complex number into integer type? So 0 plus 5j I am writing. Now here you can see that when we tried to convert complex number into int, again the type error has come. This time value error is not there, but type error is there, and it is showing that can't convert complex to int. So whenever you get this type of error, you understand that that particular data type is not convertible to that another data type. So type error is there. So you cannot convert a int into its corresponding particular complex number. You cannot convert it into int because a complex number carries imaginary and real parts. There are two parts, so you cannot convert it into this particular thing. Now let us not take the imaginary part. Let us make the imaginary part as 0. Then can we write the thing or not? Let us check it out also. Again the error is coming. So anyway, you cannot put a complex number into int function, right? So this has to be clear. Now let us see how float function converts various types into okay. So the float is another data type conversion function which is used to convert a particular type into its float type. So let us find out float of 7. So float of 7, 7 is an integer value. Let us convert it. We are finding it out as 7.0. So 7 converted to float is 7.0. Very fast, we'll go do another conversion. 78.7, it is float only. We are converting float to float, that will be 78.7 only. Now let us convert float 87.89, which is in string format, and it is going to convert it into a numeric decimal value 87.89. Okay, a string value containing digits as well as decimal point is getting converted into its float corresponding float value. So you have to keep in mind that the string carrying a decimal value and digits can be converted into float. But what if I am writing float of 78 point, I'm keeping two decimals, then of course you can understand that this will not be treated as a decimal because the decimal does not have 2 points. So here this will be treated as a normal string, and float cannot be cannot convert any normal string to a particular numeric value, right? So only those strings which carries digits or decimal points can be converted into float. So let us convert float of 89. Say suppose I am keeping 89 only, which is just numbers. So it will give you 89.0. So I hope this is understood to you, that you can convert any string into float provided that that string should have numbers and a decimal point. Now let us convert float of a complex number 10 plus 5j. Again the same thing, type error is coming, you cannot convert complex to float. So can we convert a Boolean value into float? Float of true is 1.0. So you can have a float value for a Boolean value. The true is converted into 1.0. So I hope the false will be converted into 0.0. So right. So these two things should be kept in mind. Now let us see how the str function or string function is going to convert the things. So str of, let us put 78, which is an integer. Let us pass 78 as an argument value to str function, and it gives you 78 as a string. When we are passing a decimal value as an argument to str, it is giving us a string value of 89.78. So this is again a string value. So str function converts any argument passed to it into a particular string format. Let us see whether it can convert a string to or not. Say for example, so this will always be converted into string only. So we are passing a string and getting a string. Now let us convert str of, say for example, a complex number 6j. Now you can see 9 plus 6j is getting converted into its string format. So it can even convert the complex numbers into its corresponding string complex number, right? Now let us come to the next thing. Let us come to the next thing, that is can we convert a Boolean value like true and false into string value? Yes, we can convert a Boolean value as true, which is a string true. So it is a string having a true sentence, a word, right? So true as a word. So let us see str of false. It is taking false as a word, right? Now let us convert complex. Let us use complex function to convert that particular thing. So complex functions, let us see how the complex functions will hold good. So complex of 1, say for example, it is giving us 1 plus 0j. So complex function can be used to convert any integer into its corresponding complex format. So complex of say for example -4, it will give you -4 plus 0j. Now let us convert complex of let us convert it a string. Let us take a string 8 plus 6j. Now you can see that A string having real and imaginary parts can be converted into a particular complex value. So it is converting it as a complex number. So these things should be kept in mind. So complex of, let us see whether we can convert a real number into a complex form or not. So 89.78, so it is giving you 89.78 plus 0j, right? So it can be also converted into complex number. Okay, so these things should be kept in mind. So let us see whether we can convert true value into its corresponding complex value or not. Yes, we can. It is giving 1 plus 0j, right? So similarly, a false value can be converted into a complex format like 0j only. So that is 0 plus 0j is 0j, right? Now let us come to the let us convert a simple string having my name into complex number, whether it can be converted or not. Now you can see a value error is coming because this value is not acceptable to complex function, because this value contains such type of value which is basically cannot be represented as a complex number in the form of a plus ij. So it is not accepting. Now let us see the use of bool function or Boolean function, which converts any data type into Boolean data type or true in the form of true and false. So let us see bool of 18, which is a integer, and it is giving us true. So any integer, any positive integer is treated as to be a Boolean. When treated as Boolean, is converted into true. Say for example, if I am converting bool of minus 45, now it is also giving us true only, because any negative number is also considered to be a true value in Boolean, in terms of Boolean. Now let us say bool of 0, so it is giving us false. So only 0 is taken as a Boolean false, right? Now let us convert bool of a given 1 plus 1j. We are taking as a string complex number and we are passing it as. Now you can see that a string complex number gets converted into Boolean, and that is true. Why this is true? Because we are having one as real part and one as imaginary part. Let us see if we are going to pass it separate type of imaginary part, 1 plus 9j or 0j, say for example, what happens? It is always giving you true. So if the imaginary or real part is 1, then or a number which is not 0, then it is giving you true. Suppose if I am giving bool of 0 plus 0j, then what happens? It is also giving you true. Now why this is happening? Because this is not at all taken as a complex value. It is taken as a string value. Boolean cannot convert any complex number into a Boolean value, true or false, right? A bool function always acts upon integer, floats, and as well as only your strings. So here in this case, this 1 plus 1j is taken as a string and is converted into true. So any string, if it is converted into a Boolean value, say for example my name, will be also true. Now what will be false then? Let us find out. Bool of blank string. Let us take a blank string and convert it into Boolean. Now you see a blank string is considered to be a false value if it is converted into Boolean. So this particular point has to be kept in mind. Okay, so let us now see the last two functions, that is CHR and ORD, the use of CHR function and ORD, which stands for ordinal values. So let us find out what is the purpose of CHR. So CHR converts that particular number or numeric value into a corresponding ASCII character. So let us find out 65. We are passing 65, which is a ASCII code for a ASCII character A, capital A. Let us find out whether it gives us capital A or not. Yes, it is giving us capital A, because CHR of 65 extends to be a capital A ASCII character. Now let us convert CHR of capital A. Then what it gives us? It gives us error, because CHR is giving type error because an integer is required. So in the parameter, in the argument, always you have to pass an integer, not a character or a string. So if I am writing CHR of 8, so whatever 8 will be there CHR not char, CHR of 8, it will give you the ASCII code. the ASCII character, the corresponding ASCII character. Now here this is giving some ASCII character which is your Unicode representation. It might be a Unicode representation, it might be hexadecimal representation, right? So now let us convert see ORD function. Let us use ORD function, ORD of A, capital A. Let us find out what is ORD of capital A. It is giving the ordinal position value of capital A character in the ASCII chart, and that ordinal position value is 65 in the ASCII chart, right? Let us find out the ordinal position value of capital Z. Capital Z is having ordinal position value 90 in the ASCII chart. So in this way we have covered all of our type conversion, explicit type conversion functions used in Python. Hope you will use them in your program. Now, as we have seen the explicit type conversion in our previous example, now let us proceed to the implicit type conversion. Implicit type conversion are those data values conversions which Python compiler does of its own so as to prevent any information loss. It happens mostly during mathematical expression evaluation when multiple different types of values are presented in a single expression. For example, as you can see on the screen, an integer value 78 when added to a float value 8.2 produces a float output which is 86.2. The resultant output is in float type and not in integer type, so as to prevent the loss of any fractional part value present in the sum. This happens implicitly in a way that the int 78 gets itself promoted to float 78.0, and then this is added with 8.2 to produce the output 86.2. Here, one thing is to be noted that not all data types can be implicitly converted to any other data type. This implicit type conversion only happens with few of the data types present in Python. Let us see one code example to get a detailed idea of implicit typecasting. Implicit typecasting demands expressions having different types of data objects. As we have seen in the previous slide, that an expression containing more than one type of data objects, when calculated, when evaluated, automatically gets converted into a particular type. Let us create one such. We are going to declare variables A, which is of integer type, B, which is of a float type, C, which is of a Boolean type. Now let us create let us evaluate one expression D is equal to A plus B plus C. Now let us see what happens to the value of D and what is the type of D. So let us print the value of D as well as the type of D. The value of D is and the type of D is. Now as you can see that the value of D is 10.3 and the type of that particular value D is float. Now here you can understand that the type of A was 7, the type of B was 2.3 which was a float, and the type of C was a Boolean value. Now when we write expressions like A plus B plus C, here what happens that the whole expression gets converted into a single type which is of type float and you get the value 10.3. Now you can easily calculate how this 10.3 has come. 7 plus 2 9 and 9 plus 1, the true value which is a Boolean value, when converted in, it was implicitly converted to an integer value or a decimal value. Here it will be converted to a decimal value, and that becomes 1.0. So 2.3 plus 1.0 is 3.3, and then 3.3 plus 7 also gets converted into implicitly into float, which becomes 7.0. So 7.0 plus, so automatically the conversion happens like this: 7.0 plus 2.3 plus the true is converted into 1.0, and that gives you 10.3. So I hope this is clear to you that implicit type conversion always happens in case where it is needed to protect data loss, right? If it would have not have happened, then you might have lost this fractional value zero point 0.3 over here. So it is important to understand that implicit type conversion helps to prevent data loss. And one should also remember that not every type of data type can be converted implicitly. Are statements in a Python script that are ignored by Python interpreter and therefore have no effect on final output of the code. Comments are used to make the code more readable, understandable. In a software company, when a team of programmers works in a single project, it becomes very important for each one of them to convey their idea to other teammates when an update in a particular part of the code is done. Hence, commenting their ideas there becomes inevitable. There are two types of comment which are being done in Python. The first one is single line commenting, used to comment a single line within the code with the help of a hash symbol. And the second one is multi-line commenting for several lines at a time by enclosing them all within a triple quotes. Sometime during testing of programs, intentionally we comment some part of our code lines so that they are not executed at all, and at the same time we are avoiding them to be deleted. So let us understand commenting using a program code snippet shown in the next slide. So here is one program to demonstrate the use of multi-line comments and single line comments. As you can see that there are two sections where one is appearing in green and another is appearing in red fonts. The green fonts are nothing but multi-line comments and the red fonts are the single line comments, right? You can see here whatever line is there, it is being enclosed within triple quotes, right? So anything which is enclosed within triple quotes is treated to be a multi-line comment, right? And anything which is started with a hash symbol is treated to be a single line comment, right? So you can just remove this triple quotes, and as you can see the whole thing appears to be in green. That means what? If I am putting a triple quotes over here, then the whole content becomes what? A comment. It is treated to be comment, whether it be a part of a code, whether it is written in coding, Python coding, or whether it is a normal line of text, all will be treated with as a comment line, right? So you have to be cautious about that. Now let us understand what is the purpose of this comment. The purpose of this comment is to make programmer aware, the make user or programmer aware, basically not the user, the programmers which are, who are working on the code, to make them aware that this code is written for this particular purpose. As I have demonstrated here that this program is to check a number for being even or odd, right? So this is all about the comments. You can use the comments as and when required, and they will not be executed. Let us run this code, and you can find out that it is not executed. Only the part of the code which is not comment gets executed, right? So let us run the module. It is asking us to save the code with a name, enter a number. So I'm entering 78 and the number is even. So the part of the comment which is being shown, which is not commented out, is being executed.